Hi, and welcome to the Reading Methods Teach It Tuesday. My name is Felicia Garman, and I am a Reading Method certified teacher and master dyer. This is the second installment of Teach It Tuesdays for June, and in today's episode, I am going to show you how to take blocks like this, fresh from the dye pot and a wash, and make them into Rolags on a drum carder. We're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to use these Rolags on a simple basic drop spindle to make a beautiful traditional worsted style yarn. Creating Rolags from a drum carder is essentially making a bat and then separating that bat by using two dowel rods. To serve as a base, I'm laying down thin layers of this combed top, which has a staple length of between 6 and 8 inches. Periodically, I'll use a paintbrush to push down the bat and free up the tines to accept more fiber. The drum is now ready to accept the finer fiber we are about to add. This Rambo targhee has a staple length of about 3.5 inches and will need to be separated by the lock in order to evenly distribute across the drum. I'm lining up each fiber so that it overlaps the previous layer. This will allow me to have these distinctive lines between a lighter color and a darker color, but also prevents the fiber from completely separating once we've finished our bat. One of my favorite things about drum carders is that it allows you to add these distinctive colors while blending with the previous layers. This really gives your yarn a unique characteristic. I'm going to continue separating locks and adding them to our bat in layers until there is a consistent thickness of fiber across our drum. The drum carder and the combed top we are using today were both sourced locally while I was living in Germany. The Rambo targhee comes from Ranching Tradition Fiber, and the Wensleydale comes from Namaste Farms. Next, I'll add in some Angelina for a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of something special for our undersea Rolags. The drum is mostly full and ready for the top layer of our Wensleydale locks. I've slowed down the drum carder quite a bit so I can place each lock exactly where I want it in the bat. Also, I want to reduce the number of times the locks go through the drum carder so they still maintain some of that nice curl. I'm running the paintbrush across the drum one last time to check the consistency of thickness in my bat. Now that the drum is full, I'll use the doffer that came with my carder to open up the bat and free the locks from the drum. I'm gently bringing the fibers back together before sandwiching them between two dowel rods. Bring the dowel rod close to the end of the fiber and gently roll under. You'll want the end of the fibers to be caught between the dowel rod and the bat. Pull the dowel toward you, rolling under and back toward the drum before pulling again and rolling again. You'll repeat this motion until you have enough fiber on your dowels to create your Rolag. You'll notice in the inset video that I'm not pulling the fibers too far away from the drum carder. I'm gently rolling the dowels on the liquor of my drum carder to control any frayed ends. To remove the fiber from your dowels, you're going to press your finger against one of the dowels and pull the other one out slowly. Once that's out, you'll then pull the second dowel out and you have your completed Rolag ready for spinning. I'll show you a few more times how to remove the Rolag from your dowel rods. One at a time, you'll pull the dowel rod out of the Rolag, and then the second dowel rod comes out, and you have a finished product ready to spin. There are many different ways to prepare fibers for spinning, and one of the nice things about Rolags is that there's an already included tunnel of air between the fibers that you have carded together on your drum carder. This can make drafting your fiber a lot easier for beginning or inexperienced spinners. Don't get me wrong, it's great for experienced spinners as well. Keep working your way around the drum, removing your Rolags until you are completely out of fiber. Now you have a complete set of Rolags ready to spin. Okay, we're back. Now that we have all of our Rolags, we are ready to take this and make a wonderful traditional worsted style yarn. If you've never used a drop spindle before, I'm going to go over a few quick items and then we'll begin. First, you have your drop spindle, which has a shaft, a whirl, a hook, and a leader yarn. We're going to use the leader yarn to help us get started to spin our yarn. Now, one of the things that's great about Rolags is that it puts air into the fibers that we have just carded and prepped so that it's easier to pull the fiber apart. You can see there's nice, it's airy, you can see right through the yarn. And as you pull it away from the Rolag, more air is introduced into the fiber. What I'm going to do to start out is I like to keep a little space in my leader so that when I'm adding twist, I can still add fiber to that section of the yarn. And probably the easiest way to do that is to just go ahead and place the fiber right into that little triangle that I've created. So what I like to do is I'll take the fiber and sandwich it between the leader yarn loop and my finger, so that when I add in the twist, I still have control over the fibers that are coming out of the Rolag. I'm just going to flick the drop spindle away from me, and that twist is going to come right up against my finger and the fiber that I have sandwiched in there. So I'm just going to add a bunch of twist. I'm going to park the spindle under my armpit so that I keep control over everything that's happening with the drop spindle. I'm going to release my finger out of the loop, and I'm ready to introduce the twist into my drafted fiber. And in order to do that, I am simply going to pinch my index finger and my thumb in the drafted area of fiber and release the leader yarn from my left index finger and thumb. Now, if I get really close, you should be able to see the twist enter right up into that fiber. That happened a little fast, so let me just introduce a little bit more twist. Then, when I'm ready to introduce the twist into new fiber, I'm going to pinch the end of my singles yarn with my index finger and thumb from my left hand, and I'm going to draft out using my right hand and pinch the end of the draft with my right index finger and thumb. Now I'm going to try to do this real slow so you can see. When I release my left index finger and thumb, you will see the fiber start to twist as that twist moves right up into the new fiber. And there we have it, a new singles yarn. And you're just going to continue to introduce twist. Now you have the leader yarn and your newly spun yarn. Pinch, draft, release, twist, pinch, draft, release. So now you can see we have quite a length of yarn that we have created. So when I'm ready to add that yarn to my spindle, I'm going to release the leader from the cup hook. And sometimes you have to pinch up at the top so that it doesn't travel down your spindle. I'm going to twist in a spiral motion to place the yarn on the shaft. Notice that I keep the fiber with the Rolag away from the drop spindle as I'm twisting, and that's just so that the yarn doesn't kink up on itself and become a little bit of a mess. Once I have a length of yarn, this becomes my new leader, and I'm ready to add twist. So I'll add some twist in, and it's okay to kink up that fiber. I also have this strange habit of untwisting. I'm not sure why, it's not necessary. It's just my habit of untwisting my Rolag. It doesn't actually do anything, it's just the habit, I guess. Alright, so I've drafted. I'm gonna release and let that twist come right up into my yarn. I'm going to add more twist. Park it under my armpit. Draft those fibers out away from the Rolag, pinch, release. Again, habit. You don't have to do that. Today, we took raw locks fresh from the dye pot, like this, used our drum carder to create wonderful Rolags, which we then spun on a drop spindle to create a lovely traditional worsted yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to give this a try, I have put together a couple of kits that will include your own drop spindle as well as some of the Rolags that we have created today in class. I'll post those links below on my YouTube channel, as well as in the Reading Method Facebook group. If you'd like to join me on social media, you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Ravelry, and Instagram as Rogue Fibers.